On Wednesday, 2nd of April 2025, residents of Lagos woke up to a long stretch gridlock along the Victoria Island-Ikoyi axis of the state. Now, many motorists were stuck in traffic, some had to stay back at work at night, and some others took to trekking. But many didn't get to their homes until the following morning. Now, this situation was as a result of the closure of the Independence Bridge for repair works. I spoke with the Minister of Works, David Umahi, who told me that while they will continue to monitor the Independence Bridge, the palliative work done on the bridge is actually enough to guarantee safety. Have you used the Independence Bridge since it was reopened? What was your experience? I'd love to hear from you. And here is the interview.
I'm Abosede Adenio-Aderemi, standing in for Nifemi Oguntoye on Beyond the Headlines. In an effort to improve the infrastructure development in Nigeria, Minister of Works Dave Umahi was in Lagos, where he inspected the substructure and other underwater elements of the Third Mainland Bridge, Eco Bridge, Carter Bridge, and the Independence Bridge to assess the structural integrity of some of the structures, as well as appraise the progress of work on the bridge elements. How often does the federal government conduct maintenance on some infrastructure in the country? We go beyond the headlines to bring you answers today. Joining me for more is the Minister of Works, Dave Umahi, who joins me from Abuja. Good to have you join us at this time, Honorable Minister. You know, you've received commendations since last week following the speed with which your team fixed, albeit on a temporary basis now, the Independence Bridge for motorists to use. Commendations have been moving. But do we get same swiftness in other parts of the country when there is an SOS call to you?
Okay, thank you so much, TVC. And let me commend you very highly. On the night of Thursday, where I had, I stayed back all night. I want to thank you because TVC, they were with us all through the night. In fact, by 10 p.m., they were still transmitting the work that we were doing, and that was quite encouraging. Thank you very, very much for that sacrifice for the nation. Yes, there is no part of the country where we have such emergency that we do not, go immediately. Recall that we have such emergency in, Cham Numa project in, Adamawa, and of course the president directed immediately, and we went there and we restored normalcy. It was a case of a bridge we were building there, and then water came due to very unexpected flooding, and then washed away the bypass. And then we had to stay back and ensure that it was restarted. The president directed us to immediately do that, and we went to Adamawa and we did that. That project being handled by CGC. And that bridge is being completed as we talk today. So we'll not have any problem of climate change or flooding in that section of the route. And as at the time we left Adamawa, we were just left with a few kilometers of route to completion. And incidentally, that road leads to Gombe. It leads to Bauchi, Gombe. It leads also to Cameroon. So very important routes, for the country. We also had similar situation in Bauchi State. And of course, the president also directed us to go there. We had one in Gombe too. And so we did inspect and immediately restarted the roads. But as soon as we get funding, we will put permanent, structures in the sections of Jigawa, Bauchi that the flood washed out. We're going to be putting about 4 different bridges, across that road between, Bauchi and Jigawa. And then that of Gombe, we also did that. And so work is already, going on that tractor. So look at the section of Ugele of the East-West Road. We also had a very terrible washout and you know, the flood came above the design level and constructed level of the pavement, and so over 3 kilometers, you know, was of the road was washed out. So we came with relief culverts, and then of course reinforced concrete pavement. One carriageway has been fully completed and is deployed to traffic, and people are very happy about it. And you also see the same East-West Road, the Ahoda section. We have similar washout, you know, by the climate change flood. And so we did exactly what we did in Ughelli. You provided relief culvert, and then one carriageway fully completed in reinforced concrete pavement, and then is deployed to traffic, and the second carriageway be constructed. And I can tell you that during the last rainy season, it was a tug of war in these two locations that we talked about, you know, in East-West Road. And also 3 bridges were brought down in that East-West Road, and the job is being reconstructed by Setraco. So we do respond, you know, and the Independence, you know, bridge. I saw one TV station, they were talking today about why do we need to wait until, you know, the situation becomes an emergency one before we respond. It's an accident, you know. A bridge can just, you know, get broken, you know, overnight, and all you have to do is to stop, you know, people from using it and restore it. It's an accident. It's just like between Kata Bridge and Eko Bridge, you know, a dredging boat knocked down one of the piles. I had to go on top of the water and then deploy divers to look at the damages, whether it would warrant closing down that bridge, because life is more important. People could be inconvenienced, but we wouldn't want people to die. So we looked at it, and you know, we didn't see that one pile, you know, being very dangerous to the use of the bridge, but we are doing something to reinstate it. But we directed that the waterway use within this section, you know, be closed. Yes.
All right, Honorable Minister. So you've just been able to, you know, let us know that indeed you listen to cries from different parts of the country. But since you've touched on Lagos, let's talk about that Independence Bridge. You've said that, you know, the real work would happen in 3 weeks. But what will be different, you know, this time around? And at the moment, what is the structural integrity of that field portion, which was already excavated before the emergency work that was done, the palliative work, you know, and how safe really is it for mortuaries, especially those heavy-duty vehicles that would still be plying that route?
I suspect that you are an engineer, because you are really using engineering terms. The structural integrity of the bridge. I can say that there may be no other permanent work on the bridge. What we did is in engineering evolved from, you know, different kinds of experiments. So we didn't do the piling of the abutment from where the approach slab slipped off, and that's what caused the problem. And about 53 years ago or thereabout, when this was constructed, the method of construction of approach slab is not what is being done today, because the approach slab was constructed, you know, with you know, simply supported, you know, on the abutment on one side and the other by sand, you know. And so when we were digging, we saw that the entire space, you know, upon which the approach slab, you know, was resting on, were hollow, which means that the earth, the sand, you know, had all escaped. And so when I came, I know that we had done some work, you know, flat sheet piles, you know, around that apartment. And so I believed strongly that by doing that, we have solved the problem of the leakage of sand. But I went under the water to look at it again, whether there is any you know, sign of you know, water seeping into that space, and I didn't see any. Then I started refilling that space with sand and stone base and treated it with cement, and then I brought heavy compactors to compact. I went back, you know, at the back of the abutment to check whether there is any leakage of sand, and to check whether there is any wetting of the sand-filled space, you know, by reason of water. Because if water will enter, then you can be sure that sand will leak out. And so we did that heavy compaction, and it's stable. I continue to check it until I left today. I left Lagos today, and so I can say that that may be the final solution. That's what I can say. But we will continue to monitor and to watch it.
All right. So just to be clear, you're saying that the initial plan to revisit that portion of the road in 3 weeks to fix it has been taken care of, and there's necessarily no need to deploy, the team down there in 3 weeks for another job around there.
The parameters that can cause us to revisit that section, and they provide a different kind of method to secure it, are being watched. If those parameters are confirmed, then we will now do permanent work. But if they are not confirmed, then this is permanent work, because this method is also permanent work. We should have said 100% we are sure of the integrity if we had been the one that did the piling of the abutment. Abutment that was done 53 years ago, we have reinforced it, and so we don't know the depth, by which the piles were embedded by reason of skin friction, and that's the only method you can use to do the piling of any Lagos bridge. You can't find end bearing, you can't locate stones, so it has to be by skin friction. So that is what it is. So the parameters are being watched.
All right, Honorable Minister. Let's talk about the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway, especially the Otedola section of that road. There have been several incidents of accident, and it makes you wonder, is there a structural defect, on that bridge? And what exactly is the federal government doing to fix that challenge that makes us have, perennial cases of accident along that route?
Lagos-Ibadan, when we came on board, we inherited 2 or 4 sections. Phase 1, had the Lagos section and the Ibadan section, section 2, and the section 1 of phase 1, section 1, being handled by Jolobeja, got completed before the end of 2023. And then we were left with, phase 1, section 2 being handled by RCC. Where RCC gave us a lot of trouble, and we finalized. We are working with them on how to complete. The Lagos, the Ibadan bound was left about 5 kilometers of wearing course. I want to believe that by today they would have finished that section. And then we had a 5.8 kilometer on Lagos bound, which we redesigned, and then it's been procured, and so they're working on it. But the worrisome part of it is the section, that Ibadan bound section that RCC had completed. They are rotting, there's a rotting, over there. Rotting is like the asphalt is folding. But in fairness for them, even though I'm not happy that that is happening, when they have not even handed over, but they have gone back on their own cost to, redo, those sections. So that is it. But where you could be having this, hold up an accident is in section 2. In phase 2, in phase 2, we could not agree on the cost with Jolobeja and with RCC. Phase 2, sections 1 and 2. And so we had to terminate the contract. We have procured, section 1, and that's where you're going to have the interchanges, That is what is comprising in section, phase 2. We have the interchanges, we have some, access roads to be built, and that work has been awarded. And of course, we also took about 12 kilometers by 2 of Shagamu from the Shagamu interchange going to Ore, and it's awarded to CBC. And the CBC has been paid 30% mobilization. So over a little time, you will see that that hold up and accident will be a thing of the past. We have, the Ibadan bound sections, that is not much is there. It's about 44 billion, and that is, undergoing procurement now. So we are taking care of the phase 2 of Lagos Ibadan, everything that concerns Lagos Ibadan, and that will be, fully completed, this year. but the phase 1 is, to my knowledge, should have been about 97% done on the side of Aris, but Jorobeja is 100%. And we don't have this, rotting or folding of the asphalt on the side of Beja. So we are happy with the work. In fact, the little we had, Beja had come back and they remedied it.
All right, Honorable Minister, let's talk about another issue, and this time it's about speed limits on our highways. You know, it appears like news for some people. Talk about the Third Mainland Bridge, for instance, which has an 80 km/h speed limit, but not every motorist is aware, of this. How do you create enlightenment about this? And exactly how do you charge? Who monitors, compliance? How do you charge? How do you manage, this issue?
Thank you. The Third Mainland Bridge has been fully rehabilitated, and we have installed, camera. There is a viewing center under the bridge by the shore of the river or the sea, and we have camera all through the entire length, of 14-meter width of the carriageway both ways. So we have cameras, we have solar light. And then down to where we have the observation center, we have built also, an accommodation where we will house the Navy, we will house the police, the Army, and of course the local state security. They will all be there. We have purchased 3, pickup vans. We also purchased speedboats. But the intention is that if there is any one breaking the rule, we'll be able to get the plate number, and then we also have to respond to anything, whether under the water or on top of the deck, within 5 minutes level of confidence. And so that's how we intend to checkmate the speeding, and then ensure that people do not commit suicide on top of from that Third Mainland Bridge. And so we have also extended the rehabilitation of the Third Mainland Bridge down to Falamo. We also have CCTV there. We are yet to commission this observation center. We are yet to commission the rehabilitated section. But when we do that, that's when we are going to, launch this awareness. And we intend to do that in most of our routes because we have to reinstate the roads to be in good order before we talk about speed limits. So like the Lagos-Calabar Coastal Highway, section 1, when we complete it by the end of this year, we are going to fully install such. So we have that, as part of arrangement for road infrastructure, and then of course, security improvement.
I hear you, Honorable Minister. But although in Lagos, some motorists will tell you they are already receiving bills, for exceeding the speed limit. Perhaps some other time we can talk more about that. But Honorable Minister, some have actually accused you of focusing more on infrastructure in southern Nigeria. What is your response to them?
Yeah, that's not true. The truth is that the roads in southeast are very small roads. The roads in southwest, very small roads. The roads in south, you get a major road in south, just the east-west road. But in the north, let's take for example the Abuja-Kano. That's 350 kilometers. If you multiply by 2, that's 700 kilometers. If you take Sokoto to Zamfara, to Guzo, to Fontua, and then Kaduna, that's 375 kilometers. If you multiply by 2, that is 750 kilometers. These projects I'm talking to you, they are all ongoing. If you look at the project in Kano, the Hadija project that we're about to commission, that's about 200 kilometers of road. So I think I have more projects ongoing in the north than in the south. And if you look at the NMPC projects, that we inherited, 26% of that project is in Niger State alone. It's in Niger State alone. If you look at all these legacy projects, the Sokoto Badagry is 1,068 kilometers, and the majority of it is in the north. If you look at the Akwanga Jos Bauchi, it's also the same thing. If you look at the third legacy project, which is from Calabar, Ebonyi, Benue, Kogi, Nasarawa, Abuja, is also so. The totality of the projects of the legacy project, you have 52% of it in the north and 48% in the south. And if you look at the NMPC project, the southeast has a 4% and southwest
Honorable
has a
Minister,
5%.
I'm afraid we don't have a lot of
so,
time,
it doesn't have
look
any
at
basis.
this.
And I think I can't be more Catholic
critically
than
the way you're addressing it. But very quickly, I want us to touch on the Lagos Calabar Coastal Road. It's something you've touched on earlier. It's the big one and it's caused uproar in some quarters. During your inspection,
we are a united nation.
Honorable Minister, yes, I had to just quickly butt in. Apologies about that. During your inspection of the Lagos Calabar Coastal Road just this past weekend, you said the ocean tide poses a significant threat to the project, leading to decision to construct shoreline protection and embankments and all of that, which would actually result in an upward revision of the project cost. So from the initial 4 billion naira per kilometer, how much are we looking at? That's one. And can you confirm to us that there is no legal embargo on the road? Because we heard some have taken the federal government to court, including the Win Homes, who you have challenged to actually publish names of investors. If you can respond to those in just about 30 seconds, please.
We can't talk about increasing cost of the project or not increasing cost of the project. There are eventualities that happen during the construction, like the at section kilometer 13, where we are going to ski because we need immediate shore protection. That is an incidental cost. When we had to do a detour and then followed another alignment, and then we counter reviews up to 10 meters depth. That's incidental cost. The road has been raised above the expected flood level, and it has warranted that we have to put retaining wall along the pavement lines. That's incidental cost. So we are not talking about that, but we are going to have a committee that is going to put all these incidentals together and do plus and minus, and that will be the time I will be able to be assured that the project is very transparent and we are monitoring it, and they in fact have taken the press into confidence, because each time we're going to have an incidental situation, I've always brought them to
all right,
see
Honorable
it
Minister,
and to record
I
it.
sincerely appreciate the response you're giving to this, the explanation you're giving, but that's the much time would actually permit us to take today on the program. I've been speaking with the Minister of Works, David Umahi. Thank you very much for talking to us on Beyond the Headlines. That's our program.